Well, that's definitely not Matthew. Hey, everybody, I am Jeff Fuller with Fuller Embroidery Works. We have Justin Armenta from JA Digitizing Studios, and we have Matthew Enderley from Patchphrase right there. And today we will be going over embroiderynerd.io. And for those of you that don't know, this is a project that Matt has been working on since the dawn of time, or I don't know, 3 months, 4 months.
Yeah, I think it was like October is when it seriously started, but
okay. We'll go with since October. And it's going to be a very awesome suite of tools. If any of you guys are familiar with our thread converter application that Matt created, it's called threadcharts.com.
Or you can go to threadconverter.com too.
Or you can go to threadconverter.com. This is the, how would you call it? Morph?
The original?
Yeah, that would be the original. It would be now considered a legacy app, as it's been replaced by embroiderynerd.io, or will be replaced by embroiderynerd.io. So we're going to go ahead and click on this button right here, and that's going to make Matt's iPad pop up here, and that is Thread Converter or threadcharts.com, where you can match colors to threads and threads to colors, I guess.
Threads to threads. Threads to RGB values.
What? Are you guys heckling me already?
Oh, no.
A little bit.
We haven't even started yet.
We're just explaining what Thread Converter does.
Yeah, actually, Matt, you can explain it because you created it.
Well, the Thread Converter is this app that we have. It's old. It still works. It'll still be around. But eventually we're going to replace it with embroiderynerd.io, which is the latest and greatest. And it's pretty awesome. I mean, I'm not biased at all. And if you can't tell, we can do a lot more special effects. I have foot pedals that I can switch which cameras I'm using.
But, okay, so I want the foot pedal now.
Yeah, well, good thing you bought them. They're not expensive. They're only like $500, but that's not what we're talking about.
No, that's not what we're talking about. We're totally talking about the embroiderynerd.io.
Yeah, that's right. So what exactly is this? Well, if you go to embroiderynerd.io, so it's not .com or anything. We would like to get that, but but basically, it's a more feature-rich version of the Thread Converter. So it still has Thread Converter. We have a couple other features on it, like the thread inventory library, so you can keep track of all your threads. You have shopping lists, so if you need to order more threads, you can keep a list instead of using your sticky notes that you lose all the time or you eat because you're hungry, whatever happens. And then what we have on the right here, these two, these are what Jeff actually worked on. So if you have spears, throw it at him. But
no, today you're standing in front of the target.
Well, I'm actually behind the screen because that camera's not on. So, but furthermore, you have basically the thread inventory system. So what you're seeing on the screen here is basically what it looks like. There's been a few upgrades since then, but I just got to update the screenshot. And then you have all the different features across the different tiers. So first question, first gripe I can hear already is it's paid? Question mark.
Wait, period, it's exclamation paid? Mark. Question mark?
Yeah. And it's said just like that. No, it is. You can access all of this for free. So the thing with that is we did not want to take away any features from the threadconverter.com or threadcharts.com and put it behind a paywall. Anything you could do on that website, you can do on here for free. You just got to create an account. One of the nice things about that is you can share your actual thread results. So if you color match something, you can send it to someone else. This makes it really nice. Jeff and I played around with that a bit. And you don't need to have an account to look at the actual results. So
that are shared with you.
Yeah, if Jeff were to go and create a few, actually, why don't I just do it? Because why not? So you just log in. So you can see it has email address, Google, GitHub, and Discord off authentication. I'm going to go ahead and do Google because why not? So it already logged me in and says good evening. And I can go through. And I already have all my threads or most of them in here, but I'm going to go ahead and delete them eventually anyways because I do not have 7,777 things of periwinkle or whatever because I didn't do it properly. But
I feel like you do.
Yeah, I definitely do not. Okay, so favorite color 1776 because freedom. So then I can double click Independence Blue, and now I can match it across these different brands. Let's say I want to change my default brand, so I don't use Madeira. We can pretend. Let's say I'm using Gunold and Filtech. So now anytime I open the thread converter, it's going to default these. And if I refresh, it better work. And there we go. So I'm going to do 1776, done. And we're going to scroll down and you can see our threads there. So this is pretty much the same thing that we had here. It's just laid out slightly different. And by slightly, I mean a lot. Try to make it a lot more user intuitive because there's been a lot of gripes about this color system that I did here. But this is the old website, back to the new. Say I needed to order more of this thread, I can add it to my shopping list. How many do I want to add? Just to make this easily identifiable, we're going to do 19. Boom. So we'll look at that later. I don't know if that was a message for me to read, but I can't read anything right now. So now I can hit share, and I get a link. So I'm going to copy this, and I am going to find my Discord. And now I just showed everyone the password for TeamViewer, so that's cool.
Looks like
and
something's
now,
getting changed. Oh, look, I got a notification. I wonder who it's from.
Yep. So also, here's a thing. If you're not in the Discord, you're wrong. You should be. It's really awesome. You can chat with us a lot more live, and there's a lot of discussion going on there. But you can go through, and now you can see this link. If you click the link without an account, you'll still be able to see this. So see, it brought it up. You can't choose another color to look at, but you can 100%.
Let me sign out. And we'll do that again. Click the link, pull it over here. So now I can see the results. Yep, I can see the results right there.
Yep. So if you have like a customer or something, or you're trying to help someone else in another Facebook group where they're like, hey, what is the closest color to, let's say, Pantone 640? Okay, well, I can go back. So this was in Safari that I was in. I don't know. I can't see what buttons I'm hitting with my foot. And there we go. Production Assistant isn't clicking the buttons for me. So we're going to look at Pantone. Okay, so we click this drop down. You can see all the different options I have. Pantone, I said 640, I believe. And I can double click it. And there we go. So now I can see Madeira, this one right here. Whoop, that was way too big. Is 98.82% accurate. Obviously, there's going to be caveats where your screen is going to, do a little bit. It's going to look different, but I'm using a pretty sophisticated algorithm to figure it out. I'll just put it at that.
There's math.
Yeah, it's in my name. Another feature you can do is right here, this use my thread inventory. So this is the first paid feature The reason for that is because, we're storing all your thread inventory and it costs us money to actually do that. It's not so that we make, $1 million off of it, which we won't, but it's to offset the cost of this. If I click it, which of course it's not working right now. Jeff, why did it break? Hold on.
No comment.
It is working as expected, but it was because I was in the I'm not actually registered. Sorry. 640. Now it'll work if I actually type in 640 properly. It literally just worked. Oh, that's weird. Well, that's fun. Well, at least it'll get fixed right away. Oh, you know what? Maybe. Where do you clear your cache on here? Jeff, is it working for you?
No.
All right. Well, we'll come back to that. But basically, it'll let you see your inventory. But yeah. So that is the thread converter. And if you remember, I added a color, and I can just add this one as well. So I'm going to click Add to Shopping List, and I'm going to add, I guess, 91 of these to my shopping list, because that's what I clicked. Now I can go to Inventory Management and Shopping List, and you can see these are all the threads that I need to buy. There might be something up with my internet because that's not updating. I'm having issues because I'm also running the local dev or development instance here. So it's probably a cache issue. But I can also manually add threads here. So let's say I want 11 of these. I can choose different weights. So if you have like a 60 weight thread, you can choose that. If you're stocking, the large or the small ones, I can do that as well. For purchasing, like history, I can do like $7.50. You guys are. No, that was not the button. And then I can add it to there, and now it shows up. So now I have my shopping list. I can see all the different threads I need to buy, and I can go ahead and do that.
And if you could see there under the inventory items, it says fully stocked. You could set your amounts that you want to keep on stock, the inventory counts, and that way you can easily see what threads are needing to be ordered and what you have fully stocked without taking a physical inventory, which is a very nice feature. We use that a lot here.
Yeah. So like for an example, like my happies, they're 2 foreheads, and then I got my Tajima. So I need, 9 spools of black all the time, but you typically, want an extra 1 or 2 or so. So you set it to like, you need 10 or 12 or something. So whenever you get below a certain quantity, it would alert you, and it'll show up red saying that you're below the required stock, and then you can add it to your cart or add it to your shopping list, and then you can reorder it. And then with the another feature with the paid, so if I go back to my inventory management, the actual page here, you can see that I have, so like the Gunnold here, same thing, brand name, the type of thread it is, and then how many I have in stock. And I don't have a number specified of how many I need because I'm phasing it out. And you can also see that it's located in drawer 9. that's a lie because I don't have 9 drawers, but that's just a test. Like I said, I'm going to delete all my threads and start over. But so that is really nice. And that was a feature I think Jeff requested.
Yep.
And then, so if you have, your threads all across your shop where they're in different boxes or whatever, you can easily see exactly where it is. And you can sort it by location too. So yeah, tall cabinet drawer 1. Yes, it is. Well, that one I don't have at all, but you can see it helps you identify where it's at. Tags is another paid one as well. Cool. Thank you, Spotify. So I can use it for like OCP. So now I can see all the colors in that color scheme that I would use for my military patches. So in case you're wondering what they are, there you go. I can also do, if I click it again, it gets rid of it. I can sort it by colors if I tag it that way. Or you can do, let's say you want to tag it as an order, say it's a repeat customer. You can do it that. I don't have any as a demo, but let's say I did test, say these were all a customer, that would pull it up as well. And you can easily search through it. And I can do, you can search for it like this as well. Tag. It's probably got to be, or of course it's also not gonna, I do not iPad. There we go. Well, that'll fix. So it's not case sensitive, but there you can see I can do a search for tag and test. You can also do it for location. If this is empty, it gives you kind of a description of what you need to put in, or you can just do black, but I don't apparently have any popping up. But let's see, we want to add something. So I clicked bulk add. I can choose which brands I want to look at. So I'm going to get rid of that, and I'm going to bring Filtech in. So now I'm scrolling through. These are all Filtech's threads that I have in the database. So I can scroll through. Let's say I want to look at Nectar. If I can't spell anything right. Nectar. So not next, autocorrect. All right. So Nectar, I have none in stock, which I do. So I'll update that. Desired quantity. So that's the amount you want it to notify you at. So let's say I have 8 of them in stock. I need at least 5 of them for marrowing. Tags, I'm going to add marrow just for fun. I can choose my different sizes. It's the regular size. It's 40 weight. And then location, it's going to be, marrow machine. So I can say it's on the marrow machine right now. Hit save. And it's going to tell me that that was already in my inventory. So do I want to update it, or do I want to add that I just bought 8 more? So I'm going to set it to 8. And now it'll be in my inventory. And it's that easy. If I don't actually put anything in the search bar, I can just scroll through and I can just say, oh, I need, 7 of these. I don't have to do any of this extra stuff. I can just put it in, hit save. Now that's saved. Let's just grab a shortbread, apparently, do 9, save. And now they're in my inventory. And you can see they're right there. 7 warm grades in stock and 9 of the shortbread in stock. Let's say I go ahead, open this up. Now I can see all my details about it. I can see on the right that I added these 9 to it. What this is for is, this is one of the paid things as well. Say you're running a shop. So like Justin has it for his company that he's working at, where other people can sign into this team and then they can add and remove thread as they go. So like this one here, my black, you can see that I've been adding, subtracting, just testing things out when it was. And it says by nobody because I deleted my other user. But then you can see like it'll say removed by Justin or added by Jeff or whatever. That way you can keep track of what's going on. And then there's a quick way to get to different threads right up here. So, and if you didn't notice, the website actually, it goes to a new page pretty quick, which is awesome. I like that. And you can delete the thread right there if you wanted.
The transaction is really nice, just because when you are putting it on your order list, you can see when things come in, how often you order, so you can see, if it is a pattern that you're ordering 8 cones of thread every 2 weeks, then that's something that you can maybe keep in mind, that it's a regular order with your thread distributor or your thread supplier. But especially in the embroidery houses that have multi-head machines and multiple machines, it's a good way to track the thread.
Oh, I got to plug my laptop in because it's about to die. So that means the iPad is getting unplugged. Okay. So another thing with the thread converter, or not the thread, embroiderynerd.io. So one of the things you'll get when you register for the website, you're going to go through onboarding, which is basically going to ask you about like team data and stuff. Why do we have teams? So a nice thing with that is, so I can go up here in the menu and I can look at my team. So I can see all my accounts that have access to this. So I can use different emails. Say you want to add, like your spouse, if you're working from home or whatever, or add other employees, they can get in and they can see everything. And there's my address. So that's cool. But that's on the internet already, so who cares? But I can go to different teams. So like Jeff invited me to his team. So now I can go through and I can pull up his inventory. So now if it's like, hey, does Jeff have this color? I can go through and I can see, okay, golds. Okay, he has a lot of golds. And that's that. So I'll go back to mine. And it's that fast to be able to switch between different teams. It just makes it, it's just a nice little thing to have. Okay. Do we got any questions?
Let's see.
Not yet, but if you guys have questions about the app, go ahead and drop them in the comments and we can make Matt answer them.
Yep. So one thing I will bring up, or at least mention, so this is a website that, like I said earlier, that Jeff and I were working on. Like, we're coding it from scratch. So like, if there's anything anyone wants, it's just a matter of us, figuring out exactly how to do it, and we'll put it in. The thread converter started as a project where we got sick of, using thread color books. Like, why would you want to do that? They've been in my drawer forever. I haven't used them. Just because you have the thread converter website. So it's just something that we needed that was made, and it just grew into, well, there is a couple discussions about how do you track your inventory? Do you just use, sticky notes? Do you use an Excel spreadsheet? How do you keep it up to date? Stuff like that. And then shopping lists. Do you just, more sticky notes, another Excel file? So there's that. And then the other thing that a lot of people have questions about, which is where Jeff's work came in, is the pricing calculator. How do you accurately price your work? Just, $1 per 1,000. That works for some people, but not for everyone. So that's where the pricing calculator came in. So I can bring that up. I just got to click number 2.
That's another good reason to join the Discord, is there's a lot of discussion, and there's a section on there that's specifically dedicated to embroiderynerd.io, where you can make suggestions, or if there's something that's coming up that's not working properly. But Matt is on a regular basis updating, changing, improving. So it's a work in progress, and I know there's a lot more other elements to this that we have in mind that we want to add. So it's just an all-encompassing tool for any embroiderer to use that can help efficiency, help production. I'm always trying to make things better in my production room, and tools like this are awesome. I have somebody dedicated that's taking care of thread inventory, taught him how to use the app, showing him how to, it's the communication from the back to my office now is pretty seamless. And but we're going to keep on adding things like that, other tools that you could use on a daily basis for production. I know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Discord's a good place to jump on and see ideas that people want, ideas that Matt's working on, improvements, all that good stuff in real time.
Yep. Yeah, and we're still adding stuff too. Not everything is going to go in paid tiers. There's a lot of other there's a lot of things that get asked regularly in all the Facebook groups, not just ours, but all of them, that we're working on trying to address. And one of them is like a business expense calculator. Like, how do I actually know? Like, yes, I can use this pricing calculator, which I'm going to show you in a bit, how to actually, use it. But how do you know how much you have to make an hour or whatever, if you have like loans and expenses and everything? So we have that. I just realized that I never re-added it. So I need to do that. It's, something really quick that I can do tonight yet. But, like I said, whatever you guys want, go in the Discord. I'll have to make the group public in the Discord because we had it closed for beta, but we'll get that taken care of. But yeah, if you have any issues, let us know. Issues I'll fix like immediately. But we try to do a good job, other than, not being able to click your thread indicator. But so pricing calculator.
Don't be scared to let us know if there's something wrong. It doesn't hurt Matt's feelings. If anything, it gives him the know-how that something needs to be fixed, and he's on it. He's usually fixed it. A few times I've come up with either just an idea or an issue. I'll get a message back within the hour, and he's like, "All right, refresh, good to go."
But so Jeff is going to bring up his pricing calculator and walk you guys through it. And all right, I'm going to pop off.
Yep. All right. So this is essentially the pricing calculator that we have here. You always see people asking, how do we price said jobs? So this was something that we brought in based off of feedback and based off of some of the pricing structures that people shared with us that shops use. So one of the first things we'll go over is we're going to go into the settings here. So in our settings, we have our machine run time that we run our machine on average. We have our trim time that it takes on our machine, and our color change time in there as well. Those are something that you don't necessarily need to change. If you're not sure what your trim time is or your color change time is, that's kind of an average over a couple of machines that we timed. We can also set whether or not we have a 1 head, a 2 head, up to 18, based off of, what are we running the job on? Are we running it on 1 head or 2 head? And that'll actually come in to play when we start saying how many garments are we going to run. If we can produce 2 garments at a time on a 2-head machine, then we're going to price based off of we're producing 2 at a time, versus if we have to run 1 every single time. And then our shop hourly rate. So the 60, honestly, everybody, that's been my shop hourly rate for a while. So that's actually my shop hourly rate per head. Everybody else's shop hourly rate is going to be different, but that's the one that I've been using. And in fact, I actually increased it recently, but that's what it has been for quite a while. So I'll go ahead and close that out. Now we can start talking about our design. We have a basic and we have an advanced version. We had some people ask for more fields. And so we put those under the advanced. If you don't want to fill out those fields, you can filter them out by clicking on that button right there. But let's say we have a 10,000 stitch design. We have 5 trims and 3 color changes. So based off of that information right there, we're running 800 stitches per minute. And then again, we've got our trim time and our color change time added in there. You can see that it's going to take 14 minutes roughly to run a job. These can all be dialed in to your machine if you want to, but right now it's going to take 14 minutes. So some shops, when they have multi-heads, even some single heads, they have a setup time that they charge their customers. That's basically, from what I understand, it's the time to change the machine over to run that job, changing colors, needles, hoops or caps to flats, that kind of stuff. So let's just say it takes me 5 minutes. It's going to add that in there. And then idle time. So this is going to be the time that you're going to spend changing your hoops, that kind of stuff. Let's just say that that's 4 minutes. And again, this is something that it's not necessarily you need to add in there, but some shops charge that. I don't typically do an idle time between runs because I run a couple of single heads and it doesn't take me hardly any time to change it at all. So now we're going into the quantity of garments, and this is actually where the calculations here are going to change. You can see our total job time is going to be 19 minutes, which is our 14 plus the 5 minute in the setup time. So if I go and I multiply that by 2, you can see that we're going to have an idle time of 4 minutes, which is going to be our idle time between runs. And the total job time is now going to take me 37 minutes and 25 seconds. This is where our pricing comes in, because now our pricing is being calculated against our shop hourly rate. And we can see that per piece, we're going to be charging $18.71. And our total retail job is going to be $37.42. Now that's just the pricing of the embroidery itself. Now we can come in here and we can actually start pricing our garments if we want to. Right now, this is only set up to calculate against one garment, but we may change that in the future. It just depends on the feedback that we get. If people want us to add this kind of stuff, we will. Let's say that I'm getting a polo from Sanmar and it's $6.77. We're multiplying right here by 1.5. So that's a 50% markup roughly. So a cost of garment is $6.70. And we're going to be about $10.15 with a 1.5 markup. We can change that to 2 or 2.5. I'm going to fix that so it only shows 2 numbers because it's bugging me. But this is going to be our markup of our garment. And these values, I can always add more. If you guys have something custom that you need, you can always ask for it, and we can add that in at a later date. And then our miscellaneous costs per item. Now, this was one that actually kind of, it caught me off guard a little bit, because it's not something that I've ever calculated, because I calculate that in my hourly rate, but some people don't. So we were asked to add this, and this was basically like, backing, thread, bobbin. If you're dividing that out per item, this is something that you can add in there, and it'll add it. So if I add 55 cents, it'll add it per garment, because this is per item. So we're going to add it per garment, and it's going to add that to the calculation and increase the embroidery cost. So now if we're doing 2 garments with our markup, we're about $80 based off of 10,000 stitches. It's going to take us 37 minutes and 25 seconds. So if I take this and I add that to 5, and we go in here and we say, you know what, we're running a 4-head, and I'll go ahead and save and reload. You can see how the total job time diminished down to the same job time as doing 2. That is to help with the embroidery cost per item and calculations. I'm looking at the calculations and thinking in my head. So sorry if I seem a little bit distracted, but that is where that is coming from. It's supposed to be 0.55. I was wondering why my costs were so high, and it's because I accidentally put in $55. I knew it was user error somewhere, but this is going to break down that cost now towards being able to run 4 at a time. So it's going to be 2 runs off of 5 garments. And if I come back and I say, no, wait, I only have a 2 head, I'm going to change that. It's going to change my job time, and it's going to change out the embroidery cost per item, because this is why multi-head shops are able to charge a little bit less, is because they have that the ability to produce more volume. Honestly, their cost, their shop hourly rate is going to be higher than my hourly rate, because they have a bigger machine, more expenses. So that just helps kind of offset that when you start going into, how many heads you have and how many heads you run. So this is the pricing calculator that was developed, and a lot of it was done based off of user input in the Discord. Initially, we didn't have a lot of the garment markup. We added some more markup options in there, and the miscellaneous costs and some of the other things based off of the feedback that we ended up getting in the Discord group. So if you guys are looking for more things, not just in the pricing calculator, if you're looking for more things on embroiderynerd.io, that's something that you can share with us in our Discord, or you can contact Matt or myself, and we can look at it and see if it's something feasible for us to add. That's how a lot of this came in, the pricing calculator, and actually the stabilizer calculator was specifically requested too. The stabilizer calculator that we have is specific to, right now it's specific to Floriani, and it's because Floriani actually has a recommended stitches per square inch that their stabilizer can support. So this was something that was added in based off a request, and it's actually fairly slick. So again, we'll go with the same 10,000 stitch design, and we'll say it's a 5-inch design by 2 inches wide. And we're going to go with let's go with a woven, and we're going to hoop it. So it actually recommends the stabilizer. We'll go with a cutaway, or a tearaway. It'll actually pick that based off of what you pick here. So if we go to a knit, it'll change it to a cutaway. And then you can look at the specific instructions for their stabilizers. Again, that's very specific to Floriani, but it was something that we were able to add because they have a calculated stitch per inch that their stabilizer can support. And we were able to add this in, and it's reactive. So if we go here and we change that to 5 inches wide, 5 inches tall, it'll go ahead and change that in the stabilizer calculator, the number of stabilizers need. And then we also threw in some links to their website and some videos on how they utilize that. So that's actually something that we were able to add and get that in there as well. So if you're interested in playing with that, you guys can go ahead and check that out. Both the pricing calculator and the stabilizer calculator, they're not paid. And I'm going to say this, Matt, and if I'm wrong, you guys can throw popcorn at me. And I'm going to pull you back up on screen here, Matt. But basically, if we're not hosting any extra data, we're not really charging for it, because the thread inventory, the shopping lists, all of that stuff, that is all stuff that now we have to host that saved information on our server for you guys to be able to connect across. And so that's the stuff that we're charging for. Otherwise, we're trying to keep it pretty bare bones as far as pricing, because they're tools that we want everybody to be able to use.
I agree.
Okay, as long as I was not way off base there, you could throw popcorn at me later. And Doug, he says here that he would like more than one garment field, and that's something that we can look at adding in. Is adding in another garment field, maybe a couple that are reactive, but we'll have to look at that. But that is something that we can definitely look at doing if that's something that you guys would like to see. And then Barb asks if we're using the C programming language.
Nope, this is JavaScript.
Nope, it's mostly, Java. But all right, Matt, I went through the pricing calculator and the stabilizer calculator. Yep, thread count wouldn't be the same.
If that's the case, though, you may want to just have to do, a calculation on one garment and then
Per
change
design.
it. Yeah, per design, per garment. So
Yeah, but it's something that we can look at, adding in there another.
There's so many
more
different
garment.
variables when you start getting into different garments, and you may have the same size design as the left chest to beanie, but the beanie is going to be a lot more dense, or you have a knockdown stitch, so it adds stitches. So there's a ton of variables that we could probably add onto this, but it probably would be easier just to kind of go in and do it per garment, per design.
Yep. And this is something, I mean, ideally when I did it, and it was more like, a quick estimate type pricing. Somebody gives you, you have their design, you look at their design, and they say, hey, how much? This is something that's online. But it is something, we could try to do. We could try to always add more fields and make it a little bit more customizable. We just have to come up with the layout that we would do, which honestly, I think user interface is the hardest part about developing anything, is what order we're going to put the fields in and how we're going to structure it on the front end. The calculation stuff is all easy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what took the longest. I can't tell you how many times I scrapped this entire project just because I couldn't figure out exactly how I wanted to lay out the user interface. Like, I had the main interface done, but the thread converter, like, how was I going to lay that out? I tried to do it like the old one. I couldn't get it the same. And it was just like one day it just clicked. So, but my laptop isn't really charging faster than it's using the battery, because I'm using a phone charger to charge it. So, that doesn't really work for a gaming laptop. But I know we have like 15 more minutes.
So we'll I can pull up. So one of the things that when you're pricing by the hour, which everybody I know does, is that you have to come up with that dollar figure that you are comfortable with charging. And ultimately, you need to know that what you're charging is above what you're spending. And that's something that Matt actually developed here, pointing at it, but you guys can't see it. So I'll go ahead and share my screen, Matt, and you can kind of talk over the features of it.
All right, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger on my screen. So let's see. So this one, it needs a little bit of work. As you can see, it says card title instead of, something applicable to this. But basically, the data for this came from another nerd who asked, hey, this is the stuff that I'm looking at for when I'm pricing out or figuring out how much I have in expenses. So it's based off of what they had and the same numbers, actually. So I got to make it so it doesn't have that, but that's an easy fix. But basically, you go through, you set up your different amounts. So like if you click the plus and minus buttons, it'll increase it by whatever value I have it set to. Most of them, I think, are like $10, but you don't need to do that. You can just click it, type it, whatever you want. And if like you don't have employees, you just set it to 0, and then you'll see on the right side, it would, update that and everything, which again, this one isn't public facing yet. I mean, technically you can click on or go to the actual link in the header, but that's fine. But yeah, it's categorized on the right. So like utilities, it says it's $375.11. So that's taking all your electricity, your water, your phone, internet, and stuff like that. It all combines it. And this is going to be customizable. So you can put whatever categories you want, or whatever expenses, say you have to pay for, I don't know, the air that's around your environment. You can add that as one if you want. I literally can't think of anything I would have to add, but and then at the very bottom, you have your monthly workload. So if you're working 100 hours a month, then that'll kind of help price it out. So like if I only work like 4 hours a week, just because I've been spending all my time on the embroiderynerd.io, that's going to severely affect my pricing, which is where you want to make sure that you're filling this out properly.
So the easiest way to think about it is your business hours, or any time that you're operating your business, that you're basically, you would have to pay someone to be there. So that's all your bookkeeping, it's your phone calls, the email time. those are things that you have to pay somebody to do in a general company. Your operational hours, which are below, that's the time that your machines are running. So if you're that's where you're producing garments that generate profit.
Correct.
That's
and there's a little hint there too to explain that. I can barely read it on my screen because it's so dark. I'm trying to save battery.
The amount of hours any business function is being accomplished and hours that the machines are running. And generally your machines are running less than your business hours. I don't know anybody that is working on a garment and that's not counted as.
And you definitely should not, work for free. But yeah, then on the right side, you have your expenses per machine hour. So $34.98, that's what you would plug into the actual pricing calculator.
So those are your expenses per machine hour. Now in the pricing calculator, I have $60. So essentially for my expenses per machine hour, because the employees' salaries are already calculated in there, I would add my profit margin on top of that.
Yeah, because this does not account for profit, what you want to make. This is what you have to make to keep your
business open.
Yeah.
And it's really helpful to know this number and the other number, because if you need to price aggressively, let's say you're doing I'm going to go ahead and pop us back on here. Let's say you're doing a bid and you're going against other shops, knowing what I have to make to keep my lights on and my doors open and what my profit margin is of what I'd like to make. If you have to bid aggressively to get a job, now you know the difference between those two numbers and you know how much you can come down.
Yeah. You know where, like you said, on bids, when you're bidding against people, if you want to run sales, dropping prices in sales so you're not dropping it so low that you're losing money off a job. But this whole setup is kind of answering that question that you see across every Facebook group. How much should I charge for this? They post a picture of a hat. How much should I charge for 10 of these? And it's like, well, that 99% of the other information that you need to get to that point. This is where this tool comes in.
And I can honestly tell you guys that some businesses, they'll operate on a stitch count. It's X amount per stitch count, up to 5,000 stitches and up to 10,000 stitches. Right. Every company that I know that does that, they've gone through and they've calculated their expenses per hour. They've calculated their output per hour, which is what the other calculator is going to give you. And then they basically average that out and they throw that into stitches.
Right.
And they're operating off of an average. Generally, if somebody tells me that they're charging $1 per 1,000 stitches, I know that they haven't done that. Because I don't know of a single shop out there that has done all the math that can actually run at $1 per 1,000 and not lose money. So this is something that's really helpful if you guys are looking at it. And, if you're just getting started, you can always average your costs. I spend roughly $300 on supplies a month. But knowing more, the more you can drill that down and be exact, the more aggressive you can be with your pricing when you start going into sales. And because ultimately you need to make enough money to keep the lights on. And you have to know what you're spending.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
That's me getting off my soapbox now. You get me started on pricing.
Considering the $1 per 1,000 has been the answer for the last 20 years. I don't know if you guys noticed that things have gone up in price just a little bit since then as far as expenses. So, but yeah, depending on how you structure it, this is just basically the tool to get you to that point where you know where you should be at, how much you want to make per money or per hour. And if that you implement it into, like Jeff was saying, $1 per 1,000 stitches, we have a price list that we go by that's, by quantity and by stitch count is basically dictates the price of the decoration part of it. Of course, because you're not going to be going to your customer saying, oh, I charge X amount per hour. Well, they're not going to know how many hours, it takes to do 25 hats on a 8 head next to a single head and so on and so forth. So,
yep. So I'm going to answer this question right here because it's a good one. And I'm going to bring my screen back up. So do I account for profit on blanks or embroidery? So I can honestly tell you that this is pretty close to my expenses per hour. I'm a little bit off. If we go back over to the pricing calculator and we go into my settings, you can see that my hourly rate is $60. So I am accounting for salary and profit margin in my hourly rate. That is independent of the garment. So when I price, my prices incorporate my profit and my wages. So that, I think that answers the question, profits on blanks or on embroidery. So this is my profit on the embroidery itself and my work that goes into it. And then when you come in here, we actually have the markup on garments, because not everybody marks up their garments the same way. Some people, like if you have to be really aggressive on your pricing, some people will lower their margin or they won't even charge a markup on garments. Because I was asked to put that you're not marking up garments in there. So the markup on garments is independent of the hourly rate, which your markup should be, your profit margin should be in your hourly rate. Justin, did I answer that so it makes sense?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Hopefully it does. But basically we're accounting for profit on both on the embroidery and the blanks themselves.
Right.
So we're getting close to the end here. I'm going to show one more thing. So if I go back and hit this guy. So again, I'm back on the app.
Hold on, Matt. Okay.
When you sign up, it automatically puts you in the free tier. If you want to upgrade, so you can click the little upgrade button on the top right, and it'll show you all of our features. You can determine which one you want. And then it also has the two different modes. So you have monthly and annual. So you can, I just realized there's an issue there, but yeah, so you can go through and we have a code, which I put in the, I'm going
to drop it in the comments right now.
Yeah, it's in the private chat, but Jeff is going to send you a code. So it's going to be 20% off for your first invoice. So if you do the year, you're going to get 20% off the year, which is already a percentage off of a monthly. If you do a monthly, then it's just going to be that first month. And why should you, pay for it? So if you don't know, basically, I pretty much shut patch phrase down. If you talk to the other guys, they could pretty much agree. There's been so many orders I turned away, and it's basically so that we could devote way more time on developing this. We're not done yet. There's so many more features that plan on adding.
We have a list.
And yeah. And I'm going to say that there's a really cool feature that I'm really excited to get. I'm not going to say what it is, which let's just say it'll probably, I'm not going to be that mean. It does something with files.
Yeah, we're hoping that this is an all-encompassing tool for every aspect of production and keeping track of things and just making everything more efficient in your business, in your hobby, whatever it may be. But we're going to try to cover all the bases when it comes to everything, when it comes to an embroidery shop is concerned, and the money and the time that goes into it, and all the things that you're juggling as a business owner, as an embroiderer. We're hoping to ease that pain a little bit with the tools that we're coming up with.
And I mean, we can honestly tell you, Justin uses it in his shop.
Mm-hmm.
I use it in mine. I know a few other people that are using it in their shop. So it is something that it's made by embroiderers for embroiderers. It's all programmed by Matt, mostly,
and Jeff.
I was gonna say mostly. Jeff sometimes attempts to help, but it's something that was made by embroiderers for embroiderers. And if you guys have suggestions, something that would help make your workflow better, or that would work in it for you, we want to hear it, because we want to make sure that it works for everybody as best as we can. And we do have a list of things that we are going to be bringing to it. Maybe we should publish that list somewhere and make people vote on them.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that we have in the Discord. It's right now it is currently it's hidden because it was for our beta testers, but we're gonna make it bring it out to the public. I can pop it over though, since we're gonna make it public anyways. It's not like it's secret. So you can see all the different requests that we had. So like pricing calculator variables. So actually, that's what that was made off of. Do I have it hidden? I do not. Okay, so that's right. So like machine management. So that's going to be one of the things I have is you're going to be able to put all your different machines in. You're going to be able to put what threads you have on what machines, when you change the needles, what type of needles are on there, stuff like that. Any issues that I have, they're also in here. Like Mark Basaldo wants a production calendar. So that's something that is currently in planning. How are we going to do that? That's what we're looking at. So people can pop in and say, hey, I would really like it to do this as well. And then we'll develop it around that. And just little, niceties like adding a thing in the image converter so that you can, it makes it a little bit easier on mobile. So just stuff like that. And actually, I didn't even show that. Let's bring that up real quick because that's one thing that people might not see right away. If I go back here to image, I can go and I can select an image, or I can bring up images off the internet. So, that's not the button. So what's really nice with this is say you already have a design from a customer and you want to find a thread that matches it. I don't really have any pictures on here that will be that great. I'll just pull this one in. But then you can use this to figure out what thread you want to match it against. Oh, that's not a picture. Dang it. There we go. All right. I just have family pictures on here that I didn't want. So I can go through, I can sample this area, double click it. Actually, let's get this B. I don't know if you hear my puppy, but we'll go that. We'll match the color, close that. And now you can see the color in Filtech that's closest to it. And then I can add it to my cart. And now, now when I go and order my thread, I can just look at my shopping list and I can get it from there and make it really easy. That's all I got. So did we share the code? You did. Okay.
Yes, code is live.
Yes, I did. I dropped it in the chat. I totally didn't just start talking with my mic on mute at all. But if you guys use it and you run into a problem, let us know. If you want to see features added, let us know as well. We're working on it. Matt's definitely working on it very actively. And so, any feedback is good feedback. So,
yep.
And a thank you to those beta testers that volunteer their time to try things, try to break things. All the feedback that they're giving back to us and Matt, it's a big help. It lets us know where it needs to improve, where things need to be fixed. So there was a lot of people that applied. Matt got a good group of people that are helping us out. So thank you to the beta testers as well.
Yep.
And a lot of these features that are here now were things that the beta testers requested.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, like when I opened it up to beta, we only had the thread converter and I think the pricing calculator. I don't think the shopping list was even there.
It went through a couple iterations.
Right.
Yeah. And then I added bulk conversion to it because I had it on the old website, but I didn't have it on the new. And like I said earlier, there are no features on Thread Converter that are not on this one for free because this is going to replace Thread Converter, so that way we don't have to maintain two.
Yeah, we're gonna have some cool features. We're gonna have spec sheet management for
Yep.
designs, all kinds of different design management. And so hopefully this is going to be the tool that you pull up every day when you walk into work. And all your information is going to be there, all the tools that you need besides you being physically on your machine and running all those cool designs.
Yeah, I'd like to eventually get it to some point where it's your actual invoicing system, where it'll use Stripe. We won't do any payment processing, but it'll just interact. You create an order, you price it, generate it, send an invoice directly to your customer. I mean, I think that would be pretty cool. That'll be a little ways. There's a few more features we want to add in between, but I think that would be pretty cool. Yeah, like Justin just said, one website to do everything. Because I can just walk around with this iPad. I mean, it's plugged in so that you can see the screen right now. But after I'm done, I'm going to walk around and put in what threads I have on the machine, and when I change needles and stuff like that. Makes it really easy.
Pretty awesome. Right. Check it out, guys.
Yep, definitely checking out. It's embroiderynerd.io, and we do have that coupon code in the comments there. So if you guys want to try it out, there's free. Definitely try out all the free features. And if you see something that you guys want to pay for, there is that as well. 20% off the first invoice, I believe is what Matt said. But
yep.
I'll go ahead and close this out. We've got Justin Armenta from JA Digitizing Studios. I'm Jeff Fuller from Fuller Embroidery Works, and that's Matthew Enderle from Patchphrase, the genius behind embroiderynerd.io. We'd like to thank you guys for your time, and we'll catch you next time.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.